I was going to drop the mic. Roger Barnett.
Thank you. Good to see you, bro. Look, I love these summits, but I feel really old when you say I've gone to 40 of them. That's probably right. It's great to be here. And thanks for the bacon this morning. Not quite as good as Stein Erickson, Park City bacon, but it's close second. So welcome to Hilton Head. So when I was putting together this presentation, my big decision was to meme or not to meme, and I'm sorry we're going to have a lot of memes during this presentation. It's going to guide us through talking about who is MessageGears. But MessageGears is a enterprise email service provider. We work with some of the biggest brands in the world. We send billions of emails for many, many customers, and I'm CEO of MessageGears. I've been at MessageGears about 6 years and look forward to telling you about our company and a bit about why we're different today. So I'll start with the Spider-Man meme. So many of you have probably seen the Spider-Man meme. But there's too much in this industry of people that aren't happy with their ESP. They're just really not. And I'm sitting on the back table next to someone who is happy with his ESP, and that's not us. And I was like, Godspeed, brother. Like, that is great. You hold on to that ESP like this. But the problem is, most of us are not happy with our ESP. But most of us keep re-upping and re-upping again and again, and you're not happy with the price, you're not happy with the service, you're not happy with what you're able to do with it, most importantly. So we're going to talk a lot today about maybe why that is and how we can move forward from here. So before we move forward, though, we're going to take a step backwards. Let's go to the time machine, and we are going to talk about when, like most marketing cloud ESPs were built, like in the mid-aughts, right? This is what the inbox looked like. This is what your inbox looks like. And this technology was built for companies that needed to send batch and blast emails to an inbox that was mostly text. That technology is basically the same technology that you're using today on the big marketing clouds. It's pure SaaS software, and it's not well suited for one-to-one personalization across millions of customers. That's just a fact. This technology was built when not iPhones, it wasn't even invented yet, when cell phones looked like that, when a flat screen TV had a big tube behind it, Friends was still on TV, and again, your email looked like this, like one template, mostly text, dear first name, last name, that was personalization, and you sent this one email to all of your millions of customers. That's what email was like when the technology was invented that most people in this room use today. So your ESP is just out of date. It's not your fault, but it's why you're struggling to personalize at scale. It's why you're struggling to test and react quickly. It's why you're struggling to move as quickly as you want or as your boss is asking you to move. So MessageGears is here to help you with that. So it's time to move to a modern architecture. It's time for a change. Let's talk about some companies that are taking advantage of modern architecture. Best Buy is a great example of a company that they moved to us about a year ago, MessageGears customer, and they decided that, one-to-one personal interactions at scale, they have tens of millions of customers, obviously. They thrived during COVID because they treated each customer personally and individually. And when I get interactions with Best Buy, whether it be over email or push, I feel like they're talking to me, what I've bought before, my preferences, what I like. I can shop online. I can decide whether to pick up my product at the store or whether I have it delivered to me or whether I go in and pick it up or they walk it out to my car. I get real-time messaging about that. They make it easy to shop for, frankly, commodities. There's nothing that Best Buy sells that you can't buy somewhere else, right? And so usually that's hard for one company to stand out above the rest, and they have thrived during COVID and now coming out of COVID because they are able to personalize at scale. Expedia is another MessageGears customer, and they have to work with millions of people in real time, right? Think about the experience with Expedia if you are traveling with your family somewhere and you get great timely messaging, not only about flight changes or estimated departure time changes, or flight cancellations, but also like things you might want to do with your destinations that you're going. It could be an extremely positive brand building experience if you nail that. If you don't, it's the opposite. Imagine not getting a piece of information that ruins your trip. The stakes are really high for Expedia. They moved to MessageGears off of one of the old marketing clouds so they could personalize in real time at scale across tens of millions of customers, I think 17 languages in 53 countries, But that was the challenge, and there's all the regulatory issues around that. But they do that at scale very quickly and easily now. My favorite chicken sandwich in the world, Chick-fil-A, is they have mastered this. They're a master class in customer service. But part of that is making their customers feel welcome by how they communicate with them. So every email, push, and SMS that Chick-fil-A sends goes through MessageGears platform. And they're just the best in the business in the QSR space. Revenue per square foot, in terms of customer satisfaction, in terms of same-sales stores growth, they knock it out of the park. Their food is great, but it's mostly about the service. And they do it digitally as well as in service, and they in person. But they use MessageGears. So to be successful at communicating with your customers at scale, you need to know who they are. You need to know everything about them. You need to know what they want. And a lot of that you can discern by the history that you have about them. You need to know when they want to receive the message that you now want to send them, time of day, day of week, and of course, where they want to receive that message, whether that's over email or push or SMS or perhaps over social media. The problem is right now, getting access to the data to let you do those 4 things is really hard in your job today. And it's data friction that holds you back. It's not that you don't have the data. That's the thing about today's world. There's a plethora of data. It's getting access to it to allow you to personalize at scale. And this is primarily the problem. There is a ton of MarTech SaaS vendors out there that all get plugged into this kind of spaghetti soup of data movement to try to solve particular pieces of the problem. And so what we would suggest is you should take your data warehouse and put it at the center of your solution. A different way to think about this is all the data you need access to personalize, and this is just touching the surface. Let's think about customer data, offer data, loyalty data, pricing data, weather, inventory, behavioral, the list goes on and on. Like all of this data that probably sits in different parts of your organization, you need to personalize your messaging, to make it impactful. But there's like, it's like a bottleneck to get that data to the SaaS MarTech solution vendors that you need to send those messages out the door. And it's this friction point that causes your problems. It's just factual. And unfortunately, this is how too many of you look too many days of the week. So we're going to go back in the time machine now and go to the future, which is really today. And how there's a different solution, and how you can send email in the modern data stack. So your data, you have the data, like I talked about. It lives within, probably in a modern data warehouse behind your firewall. MessageGears is a hybrid solution. We're not a pure SaaS software solution. We sit in the cloud, but anything that touches your customer data lives within your environment. And that changes the entire paradigm of your life. We sit within your environment and directly, without having to go through 3 or 4 or 5 vendors that each have to have data synchronization with you. You can activate any audience, run real-time queries, look at those audiences, figure out who you want to send, and what attributes you want to personalize against, and activate those across all of your MarTech vendors without the data ever having to leave your premise. You can do it in real time, all through our platform. And then, of course, we're an ESP. So you can send your emails, your SMS, your push through our platform as well. All in one place with the direct access to your data with no data movement. We alleviate the data friction by keeping your data at the center of your activities, not a copy of your data that lives somewhere else. And that's fundamental. So time to go back to a meme, the famous whistling boy, upset girlfriend meme. So at this point, you're thinking, well, why in the world would I use a legacy ESP, right? You really, and look, I don't blame you, but don't take my word for it only. Look, there's a lot of articles written about how pure SaaS MarTech solutions are the way of the past, and it's just our future. It's where we're heading. This is a venture capitalist that was writing on a Snowflake blog, and I love this. And he talks about how today's world. This is the way SaaS MarTech vendors work, all of them, pretty much. You have your customer data. You have 4 different MarTech SaaS vendors. Each of them have a copy of your data that lives within their platform. So think about that. Your data lives at the bottom. Each of them have a copy, or usually a redacted copy, and a subset of your data that's probably 3 to 7 days old, right? But copies of your data live within each of your vendors because of the way they are architected. You need to get your data up to them to use their platform. This is the future, where you have hybrid providers like MessageGears that we have a platform that sits right on top of your data. Think about how much more efficient this is for you, for your IT department, for your ability to get access to your data in real time. It's more secure. Your data never leaves your firewall. This is the future for really all connected apps, but certainly it's today for MessageGears. So here's 4 things you will not have to put up with anymore if you move to MessageGears platform. One is waiting days between, for your data to sync between systems. We've seen this with our customers, and it really continues to befuddle me when I talk to really big brands that I respect that just say, I know what offer I want to send Roger Barnett. I cannot get it in his inbox with my current MarTech setup in under 3 days, in under 7 days. It's just impossible. So I love the grandma let's get to bed meme, right? This goes away with MessageGears. Within the hour, real time, to the minute. You know what you want to send me, you can get it out the door with MessageGears. Home Depot is a great example of this. They were on one of the marketing clouds. They moved to MessageGears and were able to send offers out in real time instead of waiting a week. Their email engagement rates went up 15%, 60% savings in MarTech costs. So not only is MessageGears more powerful and do we have better access to data, but we're generally less expensive because you don't have to pay your vendor to store your data for them to be able to use it. So think about that for a second. Long, painful migrations. One of the big reasons people stay with their current vendor even though they're not happy is because it's painful to switch. We all know that. And the juice is just not worth the squeeze. Switching from one legacy marketing cloud to another is painful and the benefits will be negligible, right? And so with MessageGears, and this is usually what you feel like when you're in the middle of a migration, this is the Titanic meme. It's been 84 years. That's what it feels like for many of us when we move vendors. But MessageGears, you can move quickly. That's the beautiful thing about MessageGears. We don't have to copy data. We don't have to migrate data. We don't need to do data mapping, data syncing. All that goes away because your data is our source of truth. We can get up and going in a week. Best Buy is a new customer of MessageGears. We sent our first email pre-warming in July of last year. We're sending 1 billion emails a month by Q4. It is just fast to move on. It's fast. We were sending 30 million emails an hour for them. So that was what they wanted. We can send at scale. We can get up and going quickly. Spending too much time and money on platforms. I just talked about this a second ago. To work with all the different MarTech vendors you need to be successful, it costs a lot of money. I think some combination of MessageGears and Movable Ink really makes all the rest of this go away, right? If you're sitting on top of your data, you're using best-of-breed content and campaign tools, it just simplifies your stack greatly. OpenTable is a great example of this. They moved to our platform off of a MarTech SaaS provider's 20% reduction in spend and a 15% lift. And mainly, they're just happier. They're doing their jobs every day instead of fighting their platform. Instead of thinking about what can I do within the limitations of the software I have to work within, it's what do I want to do? And MessageGears enables that. And then finally, this idea of limited personalization goes away. So, if you have millions of customers, and by the way, that's MessageGears' sweet spot. If you have millions of customers, the pain I'm discussing is really most acute when you're trying to personalize at real scale. Tens of millions of customers, millions of customers. And if you have millions of customers, it's hard to personalize at scale. And we spoke about Expedia. Their KPIs went up 38% when they moved to MessageGears. But the most important thing is these are your customers. They're happier. They're getting more. They are less likely to opt out of your emails. They're getting relevant things that tie them to your brand. And that's what we all want. And that's why we're all here. Forrester did a total economic impact study of MessageGears customers, found they averaged a 413% ROI with a 6-month payback period. We're in our first Forrester wave for email, which we're excited about. I thought Shard knocked this sentence out of the park. Big data and security savvy companies who don't want to port their data into a vendor-managed system will find MessageGears a bullseye. So these are the brands we work with, big consumer-facing brands that have an existential need to personalize at scale. The water's warm. We'd love for you to jump in the pool. I want to thank the memes. Thanks to the memes for helping guide me through this today, to be sure. Look, your tech should liberate. It should not limit you. It should liberate you. So make a change. We'd love to talk to you. I got two folks here today. I see James over there and Celia right there. Talk to us. I'll be here all week. And thank you so much for your time this morning.